I'm home, and I love it. I'm home, where I belong.
It's always nice to come home, but many Americans are at risk of foreclosure and losing their homes. Making home affordable from the U.S. government has already helped over 1 million struggling homeowners like these. The sooner you act, the better chance we can help you.
I'm home, where I belong.
Thanks for tuning in to today's show. I'm Mike Miller. Our topic today is Amanda School Levy. With me are two special guests, Julie Feliciano and Brenda Shamblin.
Hi.
Hi, ladies. How are you?
Hi. Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Doing good today. The school levy is it's a 1.5 earned income tax. This is the 5th time for the levy. The last time it tied.
Yes.
And the time is now, as Julie's shirt says. Let's talk a little bit about the need for the levy. Last time it tied. You guys have been working hard about it. Let's just talk in general, earned income tax.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about the levy itself.
Well, Mike, the first two levy campaigns was just a regular income tax, and there was quite, we lost by a significant amount. I think we kind of looked at what Lancaster did, changed it to an earned income, and looked at the fact that in our district, the difference between what we would raise between an earned income tax and a regular income tax was not that great of a difference. So we decided to try the earned income tax, and the third go around we were closer, and then the fourth time we tied.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't get any closer than that. But that's the reason why we kind of switched from the regular income to the earned income.
Now, I know that just some statistics that, current statistics, the current cost to educate a student at Amanda
Mm-hmm.
is about $7,800.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The statewide average to educate a child is about $10,500.
Mm-hmm.
And the Fairfield County average is about $9,100.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So you're still pretty low.
Oh, yes.
We are.
Yes, we've had to make a lot of cuts.
Lots of cuts in the last 2 years.
About $2 million in cuts the last 2 years. So you've seen, and we've been frugal. I mean, our administration has made sure that we are as efficient as possible, and due to the cuts, the
cost per student has been reduced.
This is issue 2. Again, we're talking with Julie Feliciano and Brenda Shamblin from the Amanda School Levy. It's, again, issue 2.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about the community itself, because it tied last time.
It did tie
and
last time.
Right, you can't get closer than that. So is it, are people together? I know you've had a lot of rallies, you've had a lot of things. Talk a little bit about maybe just the general atmosphere of Amanda.
The general atmosphere has changed from the first time, the first go-round, where it lost by a huge margin. It's gotten closer every time. This time we're hopeful that it passes. The feeling in the community, there are definite supporters, and then there are people that are not supportive. And they have their reasons. Our whole purpose was to try to educate and inform people, give them the facts, and then let them make their decision. So, I don't know. We are hopeful.
Mm-hmm. It seems like the support is growing. I think people are realizing we've cut everything we can cut and still have a school. So I feel very hopeful about the outcome next Tuesday. I can't wait for next Tuesday to be over.
Right. I wish it was next Wednesday.
Yes.
Now, the 1.5, is that enough to cover for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years?
It will actually should carry us beyond 5 years. The way the tax collection works, the fact that this will pass, I'm going to be optimistic, the fact that this will pass in May, we will not actually start collecting that tax until 2012. And our first the first payment to the school for the income tax will not be until April of 2012. So there's still going to be a very lean year because we won't really see the full impact of the income, the tax levy until really the end of 2012.
Right.
So we have another tight school year coming up, but once we're getting the full collection, because our administration is very fiscally responsible, we're going to see those funds maintain our school district for at least 5 years.
One of the questions that people have asked me is if it doesn't pass, what happens? We've heard everything from no sports, no extracurricular activities,
That's correct.
nothing.
That's correct.
Lots of cuts. There will, if the levy fails for the 5th time, there will be no sports. There will be no extracurriculars. There will be no
High school
high
busing.
school busing. There will be elimination of several programs, VOAG, CBI, which people mainly know as OWE in the past, FCA, which is known as home ec.
Right.
They will be eliminated
Completely.
completely.
The unified arts, music, art, gym in the middle school and high school will be completely eliminated if the levy fails.
And even if the levy passes, you're still going to have a shortfall.
Yes.
There's
We
still
are.
going to be 500,000, a little bit more than that is not going to be available.
Yes, we are planning, we have cuts to make regardless. If the levy passes, there's hope. There's hope for some of these programs to at least be salvaged, a portion of them to be salvaged.
Right.
And then hopefully, year 2 or 3, it'll look better and better. But if the levy doesn't pass, there'll be nothing left except mostly just the basics.
Required
So-
for graduation.
Right. Right.
So if the levy does pass, then everyone keeps their jobs?
No.
No, okay.
No, we'll still have to make cuts to make it through, but we will allow the opportunity for sports and extracurriculars on a pay-to-play basis, which is pretty common now in all school districts, but we had not had it until last year. We will restore full busing if the levy passes, and we are going to try to keep, as we mentioned before, some of those programs. For instance, VOAG, we're going to try to keep them at least on a portion of them, maybe not to the full extent as before, because we are still going to have to make cuts, and teachers have been laid off. They have to be notified.
Right. And there's school systems in the entire state, because where I work at Job and Family Services, we're involved with rapid response for factories that shut down or
Right.
companies that shut down. And we've been getting notices about every school system in the state is cutting. And I know it has to be devastating to the community, but also to the children. I know that I've talked to kids that when I fill out my college application, what do I put down for extracurricular activities? None? Zero? So
Right.
now, are both of you graduates of Amanda?
Yes.
Okay. So this hits home pretty hard.
And we both have children that currently attend Amanda.
I feel like I got a great education from Amanda Clear Creek. I went on to a great college. I feel very happy in my career, and I don't think that I could have gotten the scholarships and everything that I did without all of the extracurricular activities that I was able to be involved in at Amanda Clear Creek. So the thought of cutting all of that and our, especially high school students, not having the opportunity to have these leadership positions within the school, to play sports, to be in band, it's going to affect definitely the types of scholarships they get, the colleges they get to choose from to attend. It's, to me, that's one of the most devastating parts of this.
What are some of the opponents saying?
The school wastes money. There's too much fat. They'd like to see the school run by 2 administrators and 15 teachers, and
Just can't happen.
that
What's the
can't
enrollment,
happen.
Amanda?
About 1,600, a little more than 1,600 students.
And the fact that you mentioned, we're the lowest in the county as far as per student expenditure, that really shows that we don't operate with any fat. We are efficient, and there's a benchmark, a fiscal benchmark that the Ohio Department of Education measures, and we measure very well because we operate on less than most school districts.
All right, and those numbers were from the Ohio Department of Education website, and just to give you a couple, this was 2009, 2010. Expenditures per pupil, Pickerington local system was $9,800. Lancaster was $9,600. Berne Union was $92. Liberty Union was $86. Fairfield Union was $83. And Bloom Carroll was $82. And Amanda was $7,800. And the state average is just about $10,500,
Right.
which we talked before. So is it, when people talk to you about not supporting levy, is it the administration, not too much money, not enough programs?
Teachers make too much money, administrators make too much money. They don't like the busing. They might have a...
Well, talk about the busing, because I did get one question about that. Talk a little bit about the busing situation as it is right now.
Well, we went to dual busing, how many years ago?
I think this is the third.
Third year, dual
Dual
busing.
busing meaning?
Basically, they pick up, our older students start their school day earlier, so the buses pick up those students, and then they go back out and pick up the younger children, and they start just slightly later. And a lot of school districts do dual busing. The Ohio Department of Education recommended that we go to dual busing. It's safer for the kids. I personally was happy, the thought of my kindergartner being on the bus with the senior. You just, it's there's some comfort for many of us. But I think one of the things when we started the levy campaign, there was a consultant that told us that 40% of your community or your school district is going to vote against the levy no matter what. So when you ask why, pick it out of the air, because those folks are going to find a reason to vote no. And that's just the way it is. It's not that way just in our school district. That's the way it is, period. There's 40% of them, which would be where I'm included, is that it's going to vote for school levy no matter what. And then we have to work on the 20% that are kind of maybe on the fence. We need to educate them about why we need to pass the levy. So, you can talk all day about reasons not to pass the levy, but it really is that those folks are just going to find a reason no matter what.
Right.
And it's just the way their voting preference is.
Do you think people in general are just upset with the way state funding for education is right
That's
now?
one thing that's going on. We've heard that at several of our meetings, that they don't like the way the state funds the school. And we don't either. I mean, I don't think anybody likes the way the state funds schools. But to vote no on this levy because you don't like the way the state funds the school is hurting the community, the students, the teachers, etc. I am all for changing state funding. I don't know how. I wish I did. But I'm all for changing it, but I don't think we can do it with this levy.
Right. We need to pass the levy, then we'll
Then
start thinking
we'll
about
start thinking
trying to
about
get the
changing
state to...
the state school funding.
Tackle bigger things later on.
Right. After arrest.
Yes, after arrest.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a second.
Did you buy the flashlight and the batteries?
Yes?
Did you make sure we're not missing anything in the first aid kit?
Yup.
Did you go through the plan with the kids again?
Yes.
The more you prepare today, the more you'll be able to reduce the devastating effects of a tornado, an earthquake, a power outage, or any other disaster. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Visit ready.gov.
Welcome back to today's show. Again, I'm Mike Miller. We'd like to welcome in Martha Buckley. Martha, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Now, Martha is the mother of 4 young children, and you moved into Amanda School District.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about moving in, why you chose Amanda.
Yeah. My husband and I came to Lancaster about a year and a half ago, and we work at Fairfield Medical Center, and we're both physicians there, and the most important thing in choosing a place to live was the school district for us. So we pretty much looked in a radius of about 30 minutes of Fairfield Medical Center. And in the end, it was Amanda Clear Creek that we chose because of the combination of education and very strong community support and the richness of that connection between the school and the community.
And you have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and then a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, which is with us in the studio today.
Yes. Hopefully you won't hear that.
No, you talked about community values. What does this levy mean to you?
It means the future of not just the school district, but the community, very much so. Because they're so intertwined and in a wonderful way, once a district starts to head in the wrong direction, it takes a long time for that to recover. We have something wonderful there, and really want to preserve that for my children and others in the district.
And obviously, being a physician, you've gotten a quality education. You started when you were young. Talk about the concept of paying forward and paying back, and what your parents did, my parents did,
Yes.
and what Julie's parents did.
Absolutely. My husband and I are both children of teachers, actually, and grew up with stay-at-home moms and had a very rich upbringing in that regard. And education for us is not just what takes place in the classroom. It's not just the syllabus and the curriculum. It's the life education and the education in values and strong community ties that were very important to us. So Amanda Clear Creek, when we appraised all the options that we had the best combination of that. So it's life education in addition to classroom education.
So it has to be very difficult for you then, too, when people, as Julie and Brenda and I were talking earlier, that, oh, these make too much money, these people make too much money, that just the naysayers, that, okay, what can we do to correct this problem? It's not something that Amanda has started. I'm just looking at all those stats and the school districts and the state funding and all those things. So when you explain the levy to people, is it difficult if people say, "Oh, I'm not supporting it. I'm not going to do it"?
Yeah, I seek first to understand why they don't support it, and 9 times out of 10 there are some misconceptions there on their behalf. So we try and make sure that they understand what the facts are and understand some things that maybe they've misunderstood or heard incorrectly over the years. So we try and dispel myths first, but I respect people's choice to disagree. That's the beauty of our country. We just want to make sure that they're making informed decisions, and when they're looking at the totality of their vote and their input on it, it's not just what is happening, right now in our school, but in our community for years to come. And that concept of paying forward, how they're investing in not just, even if they don't have children in the district, they're investing in their property values, in esprit de corps of the community, in the richness of the heritage, and preserving that for years to come. And that's why we moved here, and we hope people recognize what they have and really try and preserve that.
Do you think the younger generation, those that are at Amanda now, understand that maybe more than some of the older ones?
I think with the campaign that we've done in the last few years, or in the last few months, it may have brought an awareness to all that has. When you're faced with losing something, suddenly you appreciate it a whole lot more when it stands to not be there. So.
Do you feel the community is more behind you than it was before?
Absolutely.
Because you've had a lot of rallies and a lot of town hall meetings and those type things.
We had 4 question and answer sessions that were pretty well attended, and we had a rally on April 15th that there were about 200 to 300 people there, including students. Had participation by the band, cheerleaders, different organizations had tables there. It was just a great evening to motivate people to go out and talk to their neighbors, to educate them about the levy.
And again, if the levy fails, we've talked about numerous scenarios, but from a family standpoint of living in the community, is it hopefully go back again if it fails, or what? I mean,
I can't, yeah, that's a question for our school board and our administration, whether they would choose to go back to the voters for a sixth time. I hope we are not faced with that. I hope the levy passes on Tuesday, so that we don't even have to consider that. But that's a decision that we don't make, they make.
Again, it's issue 2 for Amanda School Levy. It is a 1.5 earned income tax levy that's going to generate about $1.9 million. And the time is now, as Brenda and Julie and Martha's T-shirts talk about. Ladies, we appreciate you coming in.
Thank you
and
for
talking
having
about the
us.
levy. We hope that everything works out. And I think the main thing is people have to get out and vote.
Exactly.
If they don't vote, then that's the old adage, well, don't complain you didn't vote, but people have to get out and vote.
Well, as we found out in November, every single vote counts. Every vote counts. So everyone needs to get out and vote.
That's right.
We appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
That'll wrap up today's show. And remember, until we meet again, let's make a difference.
So my uncle calls and he says he's dizzy and he's losing his balance. I'm like, Unc, you want me to take you to a doctor? He's like, no, I'm gonna look up the symptoms. I said, your symptoms are you're dizzy and you're losing your balance. So he said, I can't get on the internet because my arm is numb. I said, well, use your good arm and dial 911. Stroke's no joke. If you or someone you love is showing symptoms of stroke, don't wait because it might be too late. Dial 911. Time lost is brain lost.